Welcome back to our channel for another exclusive deep dive into the scintillating world of the bold and the beautiful. Today is a magnificent day to unpack the latest explosive twists and scandalous returns heading our way. So let us not waste a single moment and jump right into the heart of the action. Shauna Fulton has officially returned to the sun-drenched streets of Los Angeles. And in true, unadulterated Shauna fashion, she is not exactly tiptoeing back into town. There is no quiet reintegration or subtle knocking on doors for this woman. Instead, she swaggers right into the epicenter of the corporate drama, making a grand, audacious entrance at Spencer Publications. The sheer audacity of her arrival is enough to leave even the most seasoned power player speechless. Bill Spencer, a man who is rarely caught off guard, takes one look at her strutting into his domain and immediately demands to know what on earth she is doing there. That is the exact, chaotic energy that Shauna brings to the canvas. She thrives on disruption, and her mere presence is a catalyst for monumental shifts in the established hierarchy. Brooke Logan Forrester may not be fully aware of this impending hurricane just yet, but the moment she discovers that her historic rival has crossed the city limits, every single internal alarm bell she possesses is going to start ringing with deafening intensity. And frankly, Brooke has every right in the world to let those alarms blare, because Shauna's arrival is a harbinger of absolute disaster for the Logan matriarch. The sheer brilliance of this storyline lies in the absolute catastrophe of its timing. Shauna Fulton is not returning to a Los Angeles where Brooke and Ridge Forrester are basking in the warm, impenetrable glow of a rock-solid, blissful marriage. She is walking straight into a deeply fractured dynamic. The timing could not possibly be worse for Brooke, yet it is a serendipitous goldmine for Shauna. Right now, Brooke and Ridge are navigating a treacherous emotional minefield left in the wake of the brutal co-CEO battle at Forrester Creations. Ridge was forced to make an impossible choice between his wife and his daughter, Steffy Forrester Finnegan, and he ultimately chose to preserve Steffy's power. Brooke, in a rare moment of strategic retreat, yielded her ambition to keep the peace and protect her marriage. However, that superficial peace is masking a profound, simmering resentment. There is a palpable distance between them now, an unspoken tension that hangs heavy in the air of the Forrester mansion. And in the world of soap operas, nothing sniffs out the microscopic cracks in a marriage faster than a woman who has already proven she will happily step right into them. To truly understand the gravity of the threat Shauna poses, we must rewind the clock and revisit the scandalous history that forever binds her to Ridge Forrester. Brooke remembers every agonizing detail of the last time Shauna got too close to her husband, and the trauma of that betrayal still lingers in her subconscious. Years ago, when Brooke and Ridge were enduring another brutal rough patch in their relationship, Shauna did not just offer a shoulder to cry on. She orchestrated a life-altering event. She took a heavily intoxicated, blacked-out Ridge to a neon-lit wedding chapel in Las Vegas and walked out as the brand new Mrs. Forrester. Ridge woke up with zero recollection of the vows he supposedly took, but Shauna remembered everything, and she harbored deep, intense feelings about her brief tenure as his wife. That Vegas wedding was not just a drunken mistake. It was a calculated maneuver by a woman who saw an opening and took it without hesitation. Brooke has never forgotten the sheer humiliation and terror of almost losing her destiny to a woman who capitalized on Ridge's vulnerability. Fast forward to the present day, and the foundation of Brooke and Ridge's marriage is once again showing those same dangerous vulnerabilities. The corporate warfare has taken a massive toll on their emotional intimacy. Ridge is currently paralyzed in the crossfire of a venomous public relations war between Steffy and Hope Logan Spencer. He is exhausted, overwhelmed, and feeling entirely inadequate as he watches his family tear itself apart over fashion lines and executive titles. Brooke, on the other hand, is consumed by her own maternal outrage. She is fiercely protective of Hope, deeply betrayed by Steffy's arrogance, and secretly harboring guilt over her own hypocritical actions during the Cosio debacle. When a husband and wife are this distracted by external chaos, they stop nurturing their own connection. The emotional void begins to expand, creating the perfect vacuum for an opportunistic outsider to fill. Shauna knows exactly what a neglected, stressed-out Ridge Forrester looks like, and she knows exactly how to soothe his frayed nerves. Brooke Logan is currently fighting a war on multiple fronts, leaving her completely blind to the stealth attack forming right under her nose. Hope has reached her absolute breaking point with Steffy's condescending leadership and has officially resigned from Forrester Creations, executing a lightning-fast, highly successful launch of her new line at the rival Logan brand. This defection has triggered a catastrophic nightmare for the Forrester legacy, and Brooke is caught right in the middle of the fallout. She is desperately trying to manage the explosive tension between Hope and Steffy, while also dealing with the terrifying reality that her sister Katie and Bill Spencer are using Eric Forster's stolen designs to build their empire. With so much corporate blood on the floor and family loyalty being tested at every turn, Brooke simply does not have the bandwidth to closely monitor her husband's emotional state. She assumes her marriage is secure because she made the ultimate sacrifice by giving up the co-CEO seat, completely unaware that her distraction is the very weapon Shauna will use against her. This is precisely where Shauna Fulton's terrifying genius comes into play. She plays the long game with absolute mastery. Shauna does not need to launch a full-scale, aggressive romantic assault on Ridge. In fact, doing so would likely push him away and send him running back to Brooke's defense. Instead, Shauna only needs to be present. She just needs to be the understanding woman standing in the periphery, offering a warm smile and a sympathetic ear. While Brooke is busy fighting with her daughter, arguing with her sister, and battling the entire Forrester versus Logan corporate war, Shauna will position herself as the ultimate safe harbor. She will be the calm within the storm, the one person who isn't asking Ridge to choose sides or make impossible executive decisions. She will simply listen, validate his frustrations, and subtly remind him of how easy and uncomplicated things used to be when they were together in Vegas. Imagine the inevitable scene that is currently being written in the stars. Ridge, thoroughly exhausted from refereeing the latest venomous screaming match between Steffy and Hope, retreats to Il Giardino or a quiet corner of the Forrester building to escape the madness. And there, as if guided by fate, is Shauna. She won't demand anything from him. She will merely offer him a drink, look him in the eyes with genuine concern, and ask him how he is holding up. In that moment of profound vulnerability, Ridge will inevitably let his guard down. He will vent about the crushing weight of his family's expectations, the impossible situation with Brooke, and the sheer exhaustion of trying to keep everyone happy. And Shauna will validate every single one of his feelings. She will tell him that he deserves peace, that he works too hard, and that Brooke should be more understanding of the immense pressure he is under. It is a slow, methodical emotional seduction, and it is the exact tactic that has historically broken Ridge's defenses. Shauna's audacious entrance at Spencer Publications is a calculated opening move that guarantees she will remain in the thick of the action. By brazenly demanding a lucrative position at the rapidly expanding Logan fashion brand, she is embedding herself directly into the epicenter of the drama. She is tying herself to the very world that is currently causing Brooke so much distress. Through her daughter Flo's lingering connections and her own sheer willpower, Shauna will ensure that she is a constant fixture in Los Angeles high society. She is not the mustache-twirling villain of her own story. In her mind, she is simply a woman who recognizes an opportunity and seizes it. She is the woman who just happens to be there time and time again, precisely when Ridge needs an escape from his complicated reality. And the more Brooke is distracted by Hope's scandalous defection and the ensuing PR disaster, the more opportunities Shauna will have to quietly cultivate her role as Ridge's emotional confidant. What makes this situation so incredibly toxic is that Shauna is not stumbling into this dynamic blindly. She holds the exact blueprint to Ridge's heart during moments of marital strife. She helped create these exact same cracks in his marriage years ago, and she knows exactly how to exploit them now. She knows how to be the steadfast, unwavering support system when Brooke becomes difficult, demanding, or distant. She knows how to frame their interactions as serendipitous destiny rather than a calculated strategy. If Brooke is too deeply entrenched in the battle for the Logan and Forrester empires to notice that her husband is emotionally drifting away, Shauna will not even need to lift a finger to actively plot against her. She will simply sit back, wait for the inevitable implosion, and be ready to catch Ridge when he falls. It is a masterclass in passive-aggressive manipulation, and it is a strategy that has a terrifyingly high chance of succeeding. Anyone who has observed Ridge Forrester over the decades knows his ultimate Achilles heel, a desperate, almost pathological need to feel unequivocally supported, admired, and prioritized by the woman in his life. When Brooke challenges him, argues with him over corporate politics, or prioritizes her daughter's vendettas over his peace of mind, Ridge historically begins to look for validation elsewhere. We have seen it happen with Taylor Hayes time and time again, and we have certainly seen it happen with Shauna. Ridge wants to be the hero, the undisputed patriarch who is revered by his partner. Right now, Brooke is a fellow soldier in a corporate trench, covered in the mud of the Forrester-Logan War. Shauna, however, is offering him a clean, uncomplicated fantasy. She is offering him the adoration he craves without any of the heavy emotional baggage that currently weighs down his marriage. By the time Brooke Logan finally looks up from the corporate battlefield and realizes the catastrophic danger lurking in her own backyard, the damage may already be irreversible. Brooke will likely dismiss Shauna at first, confidently asserting that her marriage to Ridge is stronger than ever and that a woman like Shauna could never truly threaten their destiny. Ridge, ever the master of denial, will undoubtedly insist that he is rock solid in his commitment to his wife and that Shauna is merely an old friend offering harmless conversation. But anyone who has watched The Bold and the Beautiful for more than a week knows that these vehement declarations of fidelity are usually the immediate precursors to a spectacular downfall. The dramatic irony is palpable. The audience can clearly see the trap being set, while the characters walk blindly into the snare. The ripple effects of Shauna's return will undoubtedly touch every single corner of the Forrester and Logan empires. If Ridge begins to lean on Shauna, it will severely impact his ability to mediate the war between Steffy and Hope. Steffy, who has never hidden her disdain for Brooke, might even secretly welcome Shauna's presence if it means destabilizing her stepmother's influence over her father. Meanwhile, Taylor Hayes, who has recently returned to the canvas with a highly analytical perspective on Brooke's machinations, will certainly have her own opinions on Shauna's sudden reappearance. The entire canvas is a powder keg of unresolved tension, corporate betrayal, and toxic family dynamics. Shauna Fulton is simply the match that has been tossed into the room, and it is only a matter of time before the whole thing goes up in flames. As we brace ourselves for this impending emotional hurricane, one question remains paramount. Will Ridge Forrester be foolish enough to fall into the exact same trap twice, or has he finally learned from the mistakes of his past? Brooke Logan had better figure out the true reason behind Shauna's sudden return to town, and she needs to do it before this opportunistic interloper costs her absolutely everything. Shauna has successfully driven a wedge between Brooke and Ridge before, and she has returned at the absolute worst possible moment to do it all over again. The stage is set for a monumental clash of titans, a battle not just for corporate supremacy, but for the very heart and soul of the Forrester patriarch. So, do you think Ridge will take the bait, or is Brooke worrying over nothing? And let us be completely honest, are you secretly thrilled to see Shauna back on the canvas stirring up this delicious trouble? The coming weeks are